Joshua has been experiencing frustration with his roommate, Trey, for several months due to Trey's disinterest in keeping the apartment clean and orderly. Joshua enjoys entertaining guests and feels that he cannot do that as often as he would like to because of the messy state of the apartment. In this scenario, Joshua will attempt to confront Trey about the issue using nonviolent communication. Joshua enters the apartment after a day at work and sees an empty pizza box on the counter, as well as a sink full of dishes that weren't there when he left that morning. He feels frustrated, but knows that lashing out at Trey will only make him defensive, and that will not lead to a peaceful resolution. Joshua steps back from his immediate frustration and decides simply to see how Trey is doing. Hey man, how's your day?
Trey pauses the show that he's watching. It was pretty good. I did a lot of schoolwork and I'm kind of wiped out.
Joshua realizes that Trey is burnt out from school and that this may not be the best time to talk about the mess. I understand that feeling, man. I'm going to take a shower and grab some food.
All right.
Trey goes back to watching his show. Joshua returns after showing and eating dinner, after showering and eating dinner, and sees that Trey's show is over and he's just sitting on the couch on his phone. I'd like to talk to you about something. I know you were feeling pretty overwhelmed with school earlier, but do you think you would be in a place to talk?
Yeah, I was overwhelmed, but I think we could talk now.
All right. If you start to think we should take a break, just let me know.
Will do. What's up?
I've been feeling frustrated about the cleanliness of our apartment lately. When I came in tonight and saw the pizza box and the dishes that flared up, I'm not blaming you, but I do really need your help to keep this place clean.
Trey feels slightly defensive. Yeah, I left the box because the trash was full, and I kind of feel like I'm the only one who ever takes it out. I had a lot of schoolwork today, and I just didn't want to deal with that.
I'm hearing what you say. Yeah, I know. I'm hearing you say that you think I'm not mindful of the trash, that the trash needs to go out, and that you're overwhelmed today. So you just didn't want to mess with it. Does that sound right?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Joshua feels defensive, but reflects on how often he really takes the trash out. Joshua then realizes he left his can full this morning, even though he saw that it needed to go out. I can see how I sometimes neglect the trash. I know that I did that for today for sure. Do you think that it would help us to keep this place clean if I were more mindful of that?
Yeah, I think so.
I will work on that, man. Also, I just wanted to throw out there that I'm in a pretty good place with school right now, but I know how hard it can be to manage sometimes. If you ever want some help studying or anything, I'd be happy to help if I can. I know when I'm struggling with the class, it makes everything seem more daunting.
Yeah, I really appreciate you offering that. I am really stressed with school right now, and I think that it could help. Would it be okay if I asked you one more thing?
Sure, go ahead.
Would you maybe give me a little more notice when people are coming over? I've had a hard time studying when there is a lot going on here. Also, I know it seems like I'm messy and I don't care, but it's kind of embarrassing when people show up and the place is a wreck. I don't want your friends to think that I'm some kind of antisocial slob.
I wasn't even aware of the pressure that I was putting on you, man. Thank you for telling me. This is our home, and I want us both to feel comfortable here. So I will definitely check it out with you before making plans from now on. I'm really glad we had this talk, man.
Me too.
All right. So in summary, in this scenario, Joshua experienced frustration with his roommate Trey, but was aware enough of himself and his needs to use MVC to engage Trey on about the issue. Joshua's Joshua's given up of his frustration, paired with his observation and empathetic receivings of Trey's felt needs, allowed him to navigate the conflict in a productive manner. Despite some initial feelings of frustration, defensiveness, and hesitation, the conversation ends in a place where both parties feel their needs have been expressed and understood by the other. So now we're going to move on to the violent communication scenario. Joshua has been experiencing frustration with his roommate Trey for several months due to Trey's disinterest in keeping the apartment clean and orderly. Joshua enjoys entertaining guests and feels that he cannot do that as often as he would like because of the messy state of the apartment. In this scenario, Joshua will attempt to confront Trey about the issue using aggressive communication. Hey Trey, how you doing today?
Trey stops doing his homework and looks at Joshua. I'm doing well. Did you want to talk about something?
As a matter of fact, I did. I've been getting extremely frustrated with you as of late because you refuse to clean after yourself and you leave a mess everywhere you go in here.
Trey becomes very offended by Joshua's words. I understand that you're frustrated by this, but I'm not doing well in school right now, and I'm extremely stressed out by everything that's going on in my life. So
I don't care about what's going on in your personal life. At the end of the day, you live under the same roof as me, and I don't want to come home every day to the mess. I pay good money to live here, and I'm not going to deal with someone who is a slob.
yeah, I also pay money to live here. If you're worried about my mess, then why don't you clean it up instead of sitting here and complaining to me about it?
Because it is not my responsibility to clean up after you, and I'm not the one who's causing all of this. I clean up after myself and never leave this apartment looking like a zoo.
I really don't care what you think at this point, to be honest. I understand that you're upset about the mess, but it doesn't give you the right to come here and lecture me as if you're the sole owner of this place. Trey walks away and leaves the apartment.
All right, so for this scenario, it's obvious that Joshua took a more aggressive stance when it came to explaining his frustrations to Trey. The lack of empathy, coupled with his offensive language, made what could have been a productive conversation into a counterproductive argument, which got nothing accomplished. This method of argument created a very hostile situation, which gradually escalated throughout the conversation, and now it will likely be a lot more difficult for Joshua to convince Trey to change his habits.